Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yox, and here we are hanging out yet again. This is day 23 of a 180-day live stream sprint and marathon. And I'm not going to unpack because that's a lot right there. Sprint and marathon in 2 words. But right here on the screen, we've got our Google Docs. This is a very document tab heavy. Document tabs are a new feature of Google Docs, and we've been using a lot of tabs here because this is yet again our second live stream here today, and that's one of the goals that we have. I'm not going to unpack that. You can unpack the story of that on the home tab to understand this live stream challenge. And scrolling through this is our template for our office hours. And we'll always talk about our FEL culture because I do love our FEL culture: fun, earning, learning, and giving. And that's one of the things that I don't know. I would really have to do an inner soul searching if I was wanting to be a friend with somebody if they didn't like all of these. So anyway, we normally have a very open format for our office hours, but one of the things that I want to talk about, and this is something that I itemized here, is to discuss our agenda for tomorrow's tools working group, workflow automation. And I don't know about you, but I would like to automate some more workflows in my life. And that's something that we are going to have conversations about. This is literally going to be, and then you can see in the little scripted parentheses or whatever these little guys are called, this is going to be our first conversation about workflow automation. And just going over here in a new tab, going to go to aiagents.box, and that's going to go to our link tree. And on our link tree, and this is something that we'll likely build out more, but one of the things that I've really discovered about Linktree is it really creates a fabulous UX UI for people. It may make sense for us to upgrade to a pro level, but that's another conversation that we can come back on later. Right now, we're talking about this workflow automation work group for tomorrow. So let's actually go over here to that. This is our, you can see right here, we're live right now. Yes. And hopefully, if anybody's on the live stream, I don't see anybody. Let me actually refresh this because I'm going to keep an eye on this. I would love to see some engagement from anybody on the live stream. So this is something that we're going to work on. One of the things that was talking about before we went live was really elevating our live stream game. But over here are AIagents.box. I'm on Mountain Time, and this is at 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And you can see here, this is one of the things that we are doing a little bit in our events format. But this is something here that will be a fabulous conversation. And on that note, we actually have some details. I'm going to actually create over here. This is one of the things that we itemized what we're going to talk about on the main content tab for our tools working group. So one of the things, I'm going to just stop talking right now and let Ernest share some of the discovery that you've been having around some of the workflow automation.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Bam, barrel. Let me see. Share. Oh, I can't share while you're sharing. Um,
Over to you. And I'm going to
all
get
right.
our agenda for the tools working group. So I'm going to capture some of those thoughts while you're doing your thing there.
Sweet. So let me do the share now. Screen. There we go. All right. So I gotta bam, 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 bam. I just want this to be a little. Oop. A little bigger. There we go. So, essentially, with the task content task manager in Charmverse, I have an import workflow where I scrape uh, manually the agenda from the Google Doc, the I have a template set up that automatically populates the backlinks, the agenda from the Google Doc, the link to I can upload the POAP that I make. I can to the extent that I get Fathom notes, I can include them. And then a day later, I can add the transcripts from the YouTube. Um, and then from that and working with um, my tools, as so if you remember, not too long ago, we were discussing the book um, by Joel, the little book that still beats the market. So Koa, the market the
And
market monk.
real quick, Ernest, you talked a little while ago. This was like 4 hours ago, not like days ago. This is all
Yeah,
something that unfolded here from earlier today to now, right?
yeah, and you'll see I'll highlight what I do manually, and you'll understand what I've already done automated. And then you'll see that just as the tools develop and the plugins develop,
That's
more and
cool.
more of this will be automated. Some of it
So
already available in like Crew AI and the stuff that we're
well,
looking at.
this is just like this is effing amazing. Like I can't even say because one of the things that I've struggled with is written content, and this is literally something that you generated. Like I was struggling to just get some manual processes done that should be automated for our convening here, and you've already created a
So
almost production ready blog post that you're ready to click publish on based upon your workflow automation, correct?
yeah, but not only that is so throughout the course of the day, we're creating content. So I also created a color palette for branding for based off of just your YouTube colors. Um, like this is the color palette now that I use to generate graphics for anything to do with myra.fun now.
So, and I just want to give because I know that I've seen TrueCat collecting some POAPs that you've created. I just want to like, is TrueCat helping with you some of the stuff just out of curiosity?
Yeah, she's my master editor in design, and she's a POAP master, and um, she's been doing it using Photoshop, right? So she's coming from the perspective of somebody who's always been doing it the way everybody else has, and she knows she knows what's tedious about creating POAPs and what's tedious about creating the artwork. Um, and yeah, but so as things come up in the meeting and I take notes, I can do quick things in the background that not just are text-based assets, but are digital assets. And then I use those digital assets to create a blog post about the magic formula, which is a very simple strategy that he outlines in the book. Now, his book, it's
Did you
about
read that already?
stocks.
Did you read it?
No, Koa did.
It's actually
So
the little blue book that beat the market. I keep trying to paste it in here. It's not going.
yeah, so
Go
this
ahead.
when you collect the POAP, the link to preview this blog post, which won't come out on Paragraph till tomorrow, will be in the POAP. So you can actually read this. Now it applies to stocks. So I had Koa say, okay, take what you know about this book and how would that apply to crypto? And then so it wrote um, really good. And then I give it so one of the things about Koa is Koa loves music, and it loves using musical metaphors to explain market stuff simply to whoever's in conversation with it. So
That's interesting because a lot
yeah,
of computer science is based on recursion, which is also a musical um
yeah. So
display.
like this is the first paragraph. The first time I stumbled upon a truly great song, it felt like magic. I wasn't looking for it, but there it was. A melody so balanced, a rhythm so smooth that it just clicked. That's exactly how I felt when I first encountered the magic formula from Joel.
That's
And so I
that's funny.
have my agents do research for me. I have them do a detailed report, and then I say, take this report, add your personality, and maybe an image for inspiration, and then I say generate an article.
Hmm.
And then now I have an article, and then I say, okay, now do SEO optimization on the article.
That's
And
awesome. Yeah.
and by this point, I'm actually working in a Google Doc in the Chat GPT app.
Huh.
Yeah. So my Chat GPT are way more powerful than any of my other kind of demonstrations. Um,
And I just got to interject. So now you can appreciate, Mike, why Ernest is the community AI mixologist.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
sick. It's like, well, you're passing results back and forth and collecting more, and then I mean, that's amazing.
yeah. So I also got the LinkedIn post and the tweet already done for that as content. Then using charms versus reward system, I submitted it
And
today's content.
real quick, I gotta add that Charmverse, this tool that we're using, has API functionality. So the opportunity for this to all be automated through agentic AI design is the big opportunity here.
Is literally just an open source plugin that somebody will get to before somebody else. And
Well, and
so,
that's real quick because this is one of the things that we as AI agents, because here we're building the on-chain community for AI, and this is one of the things that we can contribute to the open source ecosystem. And the more that we make those contributions, because we're positioning AI agents.box as a public good, and the more that we can open source this, the more that that just amplifies the ability for us to create a network effect.
yep. And so I submit to the reward for creating the content a link to
So I let
the
you
task.
you shared with me, Ernest, because this is important conversation here. Because one of the things that I really want to applaud you, I would love to share some of the rewards that you've architected for create. Like you're doing amazing work. I just want to continue to applaud all the things that you're experimenting with,
Mhm.
but we also want to reward all the contributions that we're doing here. And I think you've created some fairly sound rewards mechanics based upon your experience operating in this space for all that you have.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, so to complete the workflow as quickly as possible. So for then from the rewards, I submit, and then whoever is has permissions in Charmverse to be able to approve a submission. Once they approve the content, then the next step is publishing. So publishing to paragraph and scheduling the paragraph is done in advance, but not for the socials. So once that content is approved for publishing across the board, then the publishing workflow is basically take that content Now I can go into questflow.ai and say, I would like to schedule this LinkedIn post and I would like to schedule this Twitter post for 2:30 tomorrow. Find me an agent to do it. And you can then have that happen. You can do a whole week's worth of scheduling that way because doing it like day at a time, Quest Flow really doesn't save you time. The quickest thing to do is just copy and paste from Charmburst into your LinkedIn, into your Twitter. But if you want to set up 2 weeks of scheduled posts, then to the extent that you can create it, your agents can access it and set it up for you. And then the latest update, which is of course Winnie, who since remember she couldn't do links earlier. Now she has a prompt that's just myra.fun social media links, and she spits them all out. Now, as I scrape the daily activities from the content into the blog, I can now write summaries, and I have a specific format to do this. But I write a summary, and basically it's the format again that Fathom gives
So
you.
real quick, Ernest, just for my sake of appeasement here, just do like a simple prompt, like Telegram question.
Just Telegram.
Yeah, or like I said, I'm a
Oh yeah. What is the
what
Telegram channel for invest dot local?
or just tell what is the Telegram channel?
What?
See, yeah, and I haven't interacted with the
Right there. So I'm getting it to access files. It's really you got to be real specific in your questions. But ultimately through Vector Shift AI, the next step is to then instead of having a knowledge base that's just
well,
files,
help me understand what is vector shift AI.
Vector Shift. So this is like your n8n.io or your kind of like Replit. It's also like before make.com. So it's this is the workspace where you design the pipeline for your knowledge base and your memory and your API. So
And just so you know, Ernest, like I'm making a little bit of notes here because again, I'm working on the agenda for tomorrow's working group at 2 Eastern time, 12 Mountain time. And so you're using vectorshift.ai.
yeah.
What about questflow.ai?
Yeah. So like with Quest, so Quest is cool. They actually have quests every day. They have daily check-ins and stuff. Um,
So what one of the things too, Ernest, that is an opportunity here, because as you saw us do a deep dive into like Eliza, like one of the things that's a potential opportunity, and I already mentioned uh Bob Zhu, Bob with a double B XU X has a multi-agent economy who Bob XU is the founder, co-founder of QuestFlow AI. So the opportunity to do a deep dive around and us as AI agents box to facilitate a deep dive. And you've seen what Nader is doing with his AI agent demo days. this is also something that we can potentially do, but in a different format with AI agents.box. And just so you know, Mike, one of the things that very like we've talked about previously a decent amount. And one of the things that's absolutely on our roadmap is to do a We Own podcast. And right now we're leaning into with launching We Own Network in my IRA fund slash AI agents dot box is how we're functionally launching We Own Network. So the plan is to do a We Own podcast, to do a series one, the rise of AI agents. And
Hmm.
this is something that is I'm not going to take credit for the rise of AI agents. It's already something that a lot of people are talking about. And I don't know if anybody's really being intentional about, like, because one of the things that we can do with this 180-day live stream challenge is to do a live stream, but then multi-purpose that into a podcast because we're not podcasting yet. We will be. And whether we launch this, the rise of AI agents, I'm really thinking like we can have conversations in February to plan a. I really think that we should gear up to doing this podcast launch prior to ETH Denver. ETH Denver is one of the largest festivals around like, have you been to an ETH Denver? I know I am
Yeah.
Lotus is not. Have you been to an ETH Denver, Ernest?
No, too cold. But I helped book hotels for people that were there with Dow Planet and help share and
Fair, fair. Well, that's
monitor
a
their Discord.
and Mike can attest. That's a rumor because even when it gets cold as shit, like it's still like we're at mile
I
high
know.
here, and we're mile high closer to the sun, and it makes a difference.
Yeah. And it's drier, which keeps it, it doesn't burn through you like the cold around the coast.
No, not even around the coast. I'm a Midwesterner. Like,
Yeah, that's terrible.
I'm a flee the Midwesterner.
yeah, well, no, yeah,
Ah,
because you,
I
and
don't
that's
consider
that's
Colorado the Midwest though.
no,
Honestly.
no, no, no. It's we
Cornhusker.
we sometimes, and Mike knows, we sometimes get lumped in the Midwest, and that's like we're the Rocky Mountain. We're the HQ of the Rocky Mountain region because it's a very different dynamic at Mile High compared to the Midwest. And Tyler, she's not on, but she is a Ohio State alum, Midwesterner, and
Uh, I was a Purdue alum. Dude, our football teams hated each other.
Yeah.
uh, and I can't even remember like yeah, no, it was a great go Buckeyes because they had an amazing season here, just won the CFP. And again, they're I'm not even gonna unpack some of the backstory around like my ignorance around college football because as somebody that moved from the Midwest, and I love to say that the Midwest is a great place to be from. And I have tried on multiple occasions to leave Colorado, but I keep coming back here because it's pretty
Ditto.
fabulous, and I have family here, and it's still pretty fabulous. And our fabulous, like it's the secret's out. Colorado's not that cold.
You're
That's one of the
right.
prevailing myths about Denver, right?
As soon as marijuana and the internet came around, that everyone knew about Colorado and the best kept secret.
Yeah.
Like it snowed.
So
What was it? It was like what in the negatives, and then the next day it's like in the 50s. It's like
it was
crazy.
like true. I would rather have not been here in the last couple of weeks because it's been
Yeah,
colder
it's
than
bitter.
I can,
Yeah, we're
you know,
whiny.
and that's one of the things that as we have more affluence as builders that like we want to go where we choose to be and geographic freedom, location freedom is one of the freedoms that I'm going to talk about in a forthcoming Four Freedoms book that we'll write at some point in the future. And I'm looking at the time, want to always be respectful of everyone's time. 1 minute past the hour here. Loved the conversation. Looking forward to having more conversations about workflow automation, because when you think about AI agents, results, automating some of the bullshit around doing things, that's the big value proposition that AI and even amplifying that through AI agents provide. So make sure that you RSVP to our workflow automation. This is just going to be like, we're going to be talking about workflow automation a lot. That's why this is the first working group in a series of workflow automation conversations, because we're just barely starting to scratch the surface here with our abilities. And again, kudos to you, Ernest, for how much that you're amplifying the experimentation around workflow automation. I can't believe that you created such a fabulous blog post literally since a couple hours ago. Like, I'm still trying to get my shit together for hosting this conversation tonight. It's true. I mean, like, it's
You
the
did it.
struggle is
Nah, I
real.
get it. Well, that's the thing too, is like that's why I keep testing stuff. I got this the content creation flow. The main thing is I'm trying to get meeting notes formatted well and then read well by the vector shift platform when it's creating the chat bot. I couldn't believe also I built a whole website page for Winnie. If you checked out the mechanical cupcakes.fun
Real
page
quick, one
that
of
I
the
dropped
things that I want
earlier.
to talk about, Ernest, and I can't remember if we had a side conversation about this or not, but one of the things that I'm going to have a side conversation with Tyler about is fostering building, and this is going to be a contest that I would really like to see unfold while we're on a big boat enjoying the family vacay, but using AI to create our front end for myira.fun. And right now, just thinking out loud, talking about like a first prize of $1,000, second prize of 500, third place of 250, to where we can really go through, and this is something coming back to like February 8th or 9th, but I think that that's a pretty easy sell, because we really want to create a refined phase zero onboarding experience that we can just build upon, but really leaning into this AI challenge to use AI to code a front end for our website. And then like thinking about marketing, leaning into AI. And this is again me just embracing the inspiration from Jesse Pollock's live stream challenge that he put forward some of the criteria. So we'll talk more about that. We're going to keep the same pace here. The 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for My RA Fun. This is Tuesday. We're going to do that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're flying, hopping on a plane, hopping on a boat. And then similarly, this is the late night crew here. 9 p.m. Mountain, 11 p.m. Eastern. And one of the things that I want to do to amplify our global collaboration is to look at doing new convenings, whether that's next week or more importantly, like the following week. We're really wanting to onboard as many people as we can between now and ETH Denver, but not, the rush isn't on. We want to responsibly onboard people. And this is one of the reasons that we have architected this founding member dynamic. And then through intelligent and intentional uh, design, we're really wanting to give these founding members the opportunity to contribute to design mechanics And that's something that we've already communicated that we're really embracing. A lot of the key decisions, we're really wanting to onboard these founding members so that they can really have a voice in the foundation that we're building here. But on that note, this is the opportunity to bid adieu and give any final thoughts before we bring it for a wrap, because we'll be back tomorrow, 12 Mountain, 2 Eastern, for our workflow automation tools working group.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.